You know the exact feeling. It is Sunday afternoon. You have finally finished your chores, your to-do list is mercifully empty, and you sit down on the couch to just watch a movie, to finally relax. But almost immediately, a quiet, nagging discomfort starts creeping into your chest. Your mind begins scanning for things you should be doing: an email you forgot to send, the laundry that could be folded, a project you should be getting ahead on. To the outside world, it looks like you are resting peacefully, but inside, your mind is racing, and you feel a strange, heavy sense of guilt. Why does doing absolutely nothing feel so much like doing something wrong? If sitting on the couch makes you feel completely useless, you are not broken. You are not uniquely incapable of chilling out, and you certainly aren't lazy. In fact, what you are experiencing makes complete, rational sense. Your brain isn't attacking you with this guilt. It is actually trying to protect you. It is running a deeply ingrained program that you didn't even know was installed. To understand this, we have to look at the very foundation of how you were taught to view yourself. For your entire life, you have likely been surrounded by a subtle, invisible pressure. As social psychologist Dr. Devin Price explains, many of us suffer from what is called the laziness lie. From a very young age, society conditions us to believe a very specific, dangerous equation: that your worth as a human being is directly tied to your output. If you are producing, achieving, or helping others, you are good. If you are resting, you are bad. Over time, your brain internalized this rule so deeply that it became part of your core identity. You learned to view your own value through the lens of your utility. So now, when you attempt to take an hour just to sit and breathe, your brain doesn't see it as recovering. It sees it as a moral failure. You feel guilty because subconsciously, resting feels like you are actively draining your own worth. When you were younger, this conditioning might have felt like a superpower. It pushed you to get good grades, to excel at your first jobs, to be the reliable friend who always showed up. It gave you a sense of direction. But as you grew, this internalized expectation morphed from a helpful motivator into a strict, unforgiving boss living inside your head. But this phenomenon isn't just happening in your thoughts. It is literally trapped in your biology. You see, the mind and the body are deeply intertwined, and when you spend years operating under the belief that you must always be doing something, your physical body adapts to that demand. As researchers Emily and Amelia Nagoski explain, your nervous system can actually get stuck in a biological stress cycle. Because you are constantly pushing yourself, constantly managing crises, and constantly anticipating the next task, your brain is continuously pumping out adrenaline and cortisol. It keeps you in a perpetual state of fight or flight, bracing for impact. The problem is, when you finally sit down to rest, you haven't actually completed that stress cycle. Your brain hasn't received the crucial biological signal that you are finally safe. So, when the room goes quiet and the laptop closes, your nervous system gets confused by the sudden silence. It feels that leftover adrenaline and assumes something must be terribly wrong. That restless, anxious, skin-crawling feeling you get when you try to relax, that is just your nervous system searching for a threat that isn't there. It is your body treating a quiet Sunday afternoon on the couch like an emergency, simply because it has forgotten what safety feels like. But here's the part nobody tells you, and this is where it gets really interesting. The guilt you feel when you rest isn't just a side effect of modern life or a busy schedule. The brain actually uses this busyness as a shield. It is holding on to this guilt on purpose. As we age, the way we experience this behavior fundamentally shifts. In your 20s, you might have looked at your inability to stop working as pure ambition. You wore your exhaustion like a badge of honor, proof that you were doing what it takes to build a life. But As you move into your 30s, 40s, and beyond, life stages change how the brain interprets the exact same actions. The late nights and packed schedules no longer feel like exciting stepping stones. They start to feel like a cage. You realize that you aren't just working hard to get ahead anymore. You are working hard because you literally do not know how to stop. The behavior evolves. The hustle is no longer about chasing a dream. It is about outrunning a quiet, terrifying feeling of emptiness that threatens to catch up with you the moment you sit still. You realize that you don't actually know who you are when you aren't doing something for someone else. And this brings us to the very root of the behavior. For many people, this intense inability to rest goes much deeper than just being a workaholic or having a type A personality. It is profoundly connected to your earliest emotional survival. Renowned physician Dr. Gabor Mate has shown that hyperproductivity is often a deeply ingrained emotional defense mechanism forged in childhood. If you grew up in an environment where you were only noticed or praised when you achieved something, you learned a heartbreaking lesson early on. Or perhaps your environment was chaotic or unpredictable, and you had to become hyper-independent to feel safe, taking care of everyone else's needs to ensure your own survival. In either scenario, your developing brain wrote a very specific, permanent rule: I am only lovable and I am only safe when I am being useful. Busyness became your anchor. It became a familiar, predictable room you could retreat to when the world felt out of control. When you were working, planning, or achieving, you are in control. You know exactly what is expected of you, and you know how to earn your place in the world. But taking a break removes that armor. When you stop producing, you strip away the very mechanism that has kept you emotionally safe your entire life. To your adult logical brain, you were just trying to watch a movie, but to your inner child, taking a break feels emotionally dangerous. It triggers a subconscious survival-level fear of abandonment and worthlessness. Understanding this changes everything. It means the guilt you feel when you rest isn't a sign that you were failing. It is an echo of a time when you had to perform to survive. Your relentless drive, your perfectionism, your inability to let go, these were not character flaws. They were brilliant, intuitive survival strategies that kept you safe, secure, and loved when you needed it most. You don't need to suddenly become someone who meditates effortlessly or relaxes without a care in the world. You don't need to wage a war against your own mind or force yourself to sit in agonizing stillness. You just need to recognize the beautiful, protective nature of your own nervous system. Your brain is just trying to keep you safe in the only way it knows how. So the next time you sit on the couch and that familiar wave of guilt washes over you, you don't have to fight it. You can just notice it. You can recognize it as an old friend who worked very hard to protect you for a very long time. You can take a deep breath, sink a little further into the cushions, and quietly remind yourself that you no longer have to earn your right to exist. You are allowed to just be here.